Dexterity. As a child, I used to watch my dad typing on his computer. What intrigued me the most was how he would type documents so quickly and effortlessly without looking at the keyboard. I kept asking myself, did he somehow memorize the position of each key? I never got to ask him this question, but I secretly admired it and hoped that one day I would become as dexterous as him. I did some practice with a software called Mavis Beacon back then, and it gave me a head start. Today, many years down the line, I can see that I have also achieved a considerable level of dexterity on the computer keyboard. And I think I have the answer to some of the questions that puzzled my mind 15 to 20 years ago. Right now, I also type with nearly no mistakes without looking at the keyboard. But there's something ironical about this reality. If you asked me where letter J or R or X is located on the keyboard, I may not be able to give you the correct answer. But when I sit down to type and I place my hands on the keyboard, they just know where to go. It's almost like an involuntary action. The reason why this happens is because I've consistently typed day in, day out for so many years that it has become part of my DNA. My hands just go on autopilot mode when I'm on the keyboard. The gap between my childhood fantasy and my current reality today was practice, and more practice. In my case, it was simply inevitable because I've played and worked on my computer for several hours every single day for at least the last 7 years of my life. And this brings me to a profound lesson I learned years ago from a book titled Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Gladwell said that it takes about 10,000 hours of practice to master complex skills. Let's break this down a bit. If you consistently invested 3 hours daily, it would take you about 8 years to hit 10,000 hours. If you invested 5 hours daily, it would take you 5.5 years. If you did 8 hours daily, it would take you about 3.5 years. Now this got me thinking. About a skill you want to master, how many hours have you put in so far? How many hours do you usually put in daily? And how long would it take you to hit 10,000 hours at that rate? You see, this is why some people never master any skill, because they give up trying after a few weeks or even months without visible results. At times, the excuse you give yourself is that you don't think that's where your passion lies. But here's my question for you. Are you not passionate? Or could it just be that you've not put in enough time? And this is why focus and consistency are so important, because you cannot hit that number of hours without staying consistent. I went ahead to reflect on some of the skills that I have personally mastered, and although I may not be able to estimate the total number of practice hours I have amassed, a few striking points came to mind. Number one, it's not so much about hitting 10,000 hours as it is about how the journey shapes you. In many cases, you don't necessarily need up to 10,000 hours to hit what could be considered an acceptable level of expertise. For instance, it takes about 3,000 to 5,000 flying hours in the US to become a captain, which is the highest rank for pilots. But in the process of amassing that number of hours, you gradually become a different person. For skills that are consistently evolving like tech, I wondered if this rule applies. I mean, you could put in the hours while the things you are learning are becoming obsolete by the day. But what happens is that when you invest that number of hours into learning and practicing a skill, you become the kind of person that can take on literally any challenge, the kind of person that can adapt, and the kind of person that can push through difficulties. This is also why employers usually ask for about 3 to 5 years experience, because it's assumed that if you invest 8 hours daily in a full-time job for 3 years or for 5 years, you should have attained a certain level of expertise. So what's the takeaway for today? Mastery is not magic. It's hours upon hours of consistent practice. Dexterity is born in the grind, in showing up daily even when it feels slow. even when results aren't visible yet. It's not just about hitting 10,000 hours. It's about who you become along the way. Sharper, more resilient, and more adaptable. And so my encouragement to you is this: whatever skill, craft, or discipline you set your heart on, keep showing up. Don't give up too early. Because one day, just like how I went from picking keys one after the other to typing without looking at the keyboard, it will feel effortless. And people may call it talent, some may call it luck, but you will know it was practice. Let's hang it up here for today. Until next time, have a blissful week ahead and keep being amazing. My name is Murphy Nnamdi Ochuba.